What's up guys, and welcome to the channel. My name is Zach and I make videos about photography, camera gear, amateur videography, and vlogs. If you're into those things, hit that subscribe button down below and let's get going. So today, Nikon announced the full frame Nikon Z5 camera, and there's a lot to be excited about with this camera, and it's interesting to me for a couple reasons. Let's talk about some of the key specs on this, and we'll dive later into what I'd like to see in this camera and who I really think this camera is for. This is a full frame camera. It has a 24.3 megapixel CMOS sensor, native ISO range of 100 up to 51,200, a maximum burst speed of about 4.5 frames per second, the same EVF and rear touchscreen as the Nikon Z6, as well as the same focusing system. The camera uses a new ENEL15C battery and shoots at up to 1/8,000th of a second shutter speed. As for video, this camera is capable of 4K at up to 30 frames per second with a 1.7 times crop and 1080 at up to 60 frames per second. So as you can see, there's a lot of desirable specs with this camera, but none are particularly mind-blowing, which is okay when we start to consider where this camera fits in the market and what price it's going to be at launch. This camera is dropping at $1,400 US, and I think it's a fair price considering what you get. When we start to compare it with what else is out there, so recently announced were the Canon EOS-R5 and R6 cameras, which are looking like they're going to be video powerhouses. I don't think that's really who this camera is going to be focused on though. I think it's more geared towards still shooters that are looking to enter the full frame mirrorless market without spending as much money as you would with a Nikon Z6, a Canon EOS-R, a Sony a7 III, or something like that. This, however, I think this is a more direct competitor to the EOS-RP, but I think it plays more evenly with the Canon EOS-R, especially when we start to talk about frames per second and the video capabilities. The Canon EOS-R shoots at a 1.7 times crop in 4K and also only shoots up to 60 frames per second. That's exactly what this camera does, which I think it'll allow for video creators to get a good use out of it. If you think about the Canon EOS-R, even though it didn't have the most spectacular specifications for video, huge YouTubers like Peter McKinnon and Matty Hapoya have built amazing content for their channels using that Canon EOS-R. This, as far as its video specs, fall right in line with what that camera has to offer. One thing I'm not certain about yet is whether or not this camera shoots in in-log or not. I searched the Nikon webpage for all the specifications on this and I couldn't find any mention of it, and I haven't seen any other information regarding in-log on the Z5, so hopefully that's available. If not, again, not a huge deal breaker, but it would be really nice. I was thinking more about the Z5 and what to compare it to. I really think the Z5 is the closest equivalent to the Nikon D750 in the mirrorless market. Really, if you think about it, it's a D750 that shoots a few frames per second slower, but also has better video features and a lot more autofocusing points. Some things that I would have liked to have seen in this camera would be, well, I really wish that they brought the flip down screen from the Z50 to the Z5, because I know a lot of people have hated on that design, but for making video, I find it really nice. In fact, right now, I'm using that Z50 flip down screen to film this video. I'm looking at the lens, screen. Lens, screen, lens, screen. This is better, in my opinion, than looking to the side for a flip out screen. Flip out screen, lens. Flip out screen, lens. It does a really nice job, and with the small rig vlogging mounting plate for it, I have no issues using this setup. The second thing that I would have really liked to have seen on this camera would be a BSI sensor similar to the Z6, Z7, and the Z50. Those BSI sensors tend to handle noise and low light situations better than the CMOS, but honestly, I won't know until I get that camera in my hands and try it out in the real world. So who's this camera for? Well, I think it's for Nikon shooters that are interested in ditching DSLR and trying full frame mirrorless without spending as much as a Z6 or a Z7, or anybody who wants to get into a full frame mirrorless camera at an entry-level price point. I think this is going to have a lot to offer. I imagine that the image quality, well, it's a Nikon camera, guys, so we know it's gonna have awesome image quality. I think the video is gonna be pretty awesome on there. Nikon's video autofocus has been really nice to me using this Z50 versus the Canon M50 that I have. I find this more reliable. I find it faster, I find it snappier, I find it more accurate. In my opinion, in my personal use, that's what I've found. And let's not forget the most important thing to a lot of people, this camera has 2 card slots. That was a huge point of contention for the Z6 and Z7 and the Nikon Z50. Like, everybody lost their minds because Nikon chose to include only a single card slot. That's no longer a valid argument when you have this available in the marketplace. So that's all I have for you today, guys. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments section, did the Z5 live up to your expectations? And will you be getting one down the road? As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.